everybody. Welcome to another episode of Wine Night Chronicles. I'm Destiny. With me are Nat and Ty. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Wonderful. Happy Friday.
Yeah.
We made it.
We're alive.
I'm so thankful. So let's cheers to that. Cheers to making it through another week in quarantine. Yeah. Oh, cheers.
Cheers.
Where are you going?
Right.
Oh,
Cheers
God,
to
that's
that.
delicious.
Okay.
At least it just, wet, my little parched palate. It is refreshing. Yeah, no. I enjoy my little water. And you guys should know it is specialty water. I'm not just drinking any old kind of water now.
Of course you wouldn't. I mean.
Of course not. Of course not. But today it's not sparkling, which is good because sometimes the sparkling can be a little bit too much on my digestive system.
We don't want you passing gas.
Right. Well, we don't want that on the show. But something that has passed through my mind this week was something we mentioned last week. And it's something I feel a lot of people struggle with, myself included, and that's perfectionism. And you guys hear me say a lot, strive for excellence, not perfection. And Merriam-Webster defines perfection as freedom from fault or defect, an unsurpassable degree of accuracy or excellence. And my favorite definition, an exemplification of supreme excellence. That's how I'm feeling today. I feel very supreme.
Those are very big words.
Big words for a big girl.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, but I do love that definition. However, striving for perfection can lead to real disappointments. And these disappointments can show up in many ways. Often when we feel as though we don't measure up. So Merriam-Webster also defines excellence as the quality of being excellent, which means eminently good, superior. I like that word too. But to me, perfection is constantly moving forward, an unobtainable goal. Perfectionism is constantly evolving and getting better and better. But I define excellence as a personal goal achieved by surpassing the achievements of your current best self. Ty and Nat, how do you guys define perfectionism and excellence?
Well, I see perfectionism. I've always seen perfection as something unattainable. Like it's not real. Nothing is perfect. No human is perfect. That's why we're human. So if you strive for perfection, it means that like you're never gonna get to it because once you get to perfection, there's nothing better beyond that. And that's really like, it's not like very cohesive for growth. So I see excellence more as what you said, like attaining your goals to better yourself. Like it helps you grow in a sense, and it feels more attainable and more real, like, and you won't be let down by excellence. I feel like you're just constantly getting disappointed by trying to achieve perfection. And that's not, psychologically, it's not a good way to look at things, to try to be perfect at everything. Agreed. So that's my take on it. What do you think, Ty?
Well, when Destiny had brought up the idea of perfection versus excellence, in my mind, they were kind of like synonyms, And yeah, they have a lot of similarities, so that made me look into the definition. And I found the Oxford definitions for each. It was just the first thing that popped up. And perfection means that you're in a state where you have no defects or flaws. And excellence is the quality of being outstanding. So to stand out and to have no flaws don't really go together. They're two different things. Now, sure, sometimes they intersect, but they're not necessarily tied to one another. And like Destiny had mentioned before, it's where you bring out the best in yourself. That's excellence. And you stand out because you're living in your truth.
Exactly. I love that.
For
Yes.
some people, standing out is very scary. I know, because when you stand out, you are open to judgment and you are very vulnerable too.
Yes.
But, you know, and there's a lot of criticism that comes with it, but it's totally worth it. It's totally worth being your true self, being the best you can be within, like, you know, your own goals and dreams and purpose. So that's how I found that's what I really like found out just by reading the definitions. It was like, oh, okay, I never really thought about that. But maybe because when people think of excellence, they think you have to be better than everybody else. And excellence means that you stand out.
Right.
And
So,
sometimes it's your imperfections that make you stand out.
Yes. I love that take. Yes. Very, very, very true. So those are all good definitions, all good understandings of the differences between perfection and excellence. But let's share
another
ways.
thing, I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine. Share.
We're gonna edit that part.
No,
but
we're not.
It was going back to being yourself. Okay, so it is very scary to stand out, but when you show your uniqueness, which to me is indisputable, everybody is unique regardless.
Everyone, exactly.
Of what
Everyone
you think.
is unique. Everyone,
you know,
is
even
special.
if you share a 0.001% difference with somebody else, that still makes you unique because you're not the same configuration, right? You're not the same percentage or whatever. So that's how come perfection has always been very off-putting to me, because it always seems like what Nat said, something that doesn't exist, something that is unattainable, something that's just ideal, and everybody's ideals change too. And also perfection can also come from a very judgmental place. So in order to avoid that judgment, that's what I learned when I looked up what excellence was. That's the goal.
I completely agree with the perfectionism does lead to judgment. But there was something you said about, hold on, it's going to come to me, perfectionism, or was it? See, I was trying to interrupt you, and you didn't let me interrupt you.
Sorry.
No. You don't let me interrupt you. And we're keeping all of this in. I'm not editing it out because I want people to see that I'm telling you
that we're
you should let me interrupt you. Like, that is so rude. But you know, I told you I'm feeling very superior today.
Well, you ain't the only one.
I also think that everyone's perception of perfection is different.
That's what I was
going to say. That.
Well, that wasn't what I was going to say, but thank you, Nat, for
it reminded
getting
you
me back on the track. Yes. So, regarding perfection, to me, I believe that perfection does exist, but I believe it's not attainable because we're constantly in forward motion, right? We're constantly moving forward. Life is, right? The world is currently in motion. Things are currently evolving. Things are currently growing. So you may feel like you reach perfectionism because there are people who believe that they are perfect. You can feel as if you've reached perfection. However, the moment you've reached it, there's something new and better. So you're not perfect. And now you've got to strive again. And you keep it's like fighting an uphill battle. So I don't believe that perfection is not attained. I guess maybe perfection is not consistent. Might be a better understanding for me, but it's constantly in motion. It's constantly evolving. That's why you feel you can never reach perfectionism.
Well, I feel, to fit in with your definition, something that is constantly evolving is not perfect. Because something that is ideally, but again, we go back to what Nat said. Everybody's concept of perception of perfection is different. To me, something that's perfect doesn't need to evolve or change because it's a perfect product.
It's done. Like, you're done. But then where do you go from there?
Doesn't stop. right?
Right,
Life
because life
doesn't
is
stop.
not perfect, and that's the beauty of life.
Well, but people can look at life and say, but life is perfect.
It
It's
feels perfect
brilliantly,
sometimes. It
it's
Yeah.
really does.
brilliantly designed.
That's true.
Yeah.
When you,
Yes. Think about everything that
I
exists
don't
so
believe
that
in
we may
intellectual
exist.
design.
I'm sorry? I'm
What were
saying,
you
look
saying?
at it's brilliantly designed and saying, look at everything that exists so that we may exist. Trees. Who knew trees would be such a lifesaver for us, right? We can't
Right.
exist without trees. So that's a beautiful design. And I'm not saying God designed it, although I personally believe that, but I'm saying that in a general way, life is perfect.
How
Because
it is,
everything,
how it's, okay.
yes, life is perfect. How things work together. But I'm looking at that from a very science perspective regarding how the world works, and not in regards to goals that individuals set.
Or like
I
making yourself
understand.
perfect, you know what I mean?
Right. Now that's
We
a
went
whole
out
nother
into,
conversation. Yeah, I went out into the
life is
unicorn world. The unicorn world back then.
yes,
So okay,
you love visiting the
focus.
unicorn.
Focus, Desi. We in the physical realm. We're not in the unicorn world right now. Stay with them. I'm with you guys.
Although I must say that your blouse, Jessie, is
Oh, it's to
perfection.
die
Now
for.
it's amazing.
I love it.
It's
Thank
beautiful.
you. These are my work clothes, so now I got this whole closet of office
Girl,
attire
you
that
work
I
on a
cannot wear to the
runway?
office anymore. So, I wish I worked on a runway, but no, I do not work on a runway. But I like to look good when I go to work. I'm representing myself, and I don't
Ain't
want
nobody
to
gonna
walk
do it
out the
better
house
than
looking.
you.
Thank you. Hello. And my mom didn't raise me that way. You look presentable when you leave the house. You look presentable if you're just around the house, because she's always, you don't know who's going to stop by.
That's my mom too.
Yeah.
You don't know.
You don't know. So,
You never know.
Look like somebody. And so therefore I do. But thank you for the compliment. I know last week we talked about a little bit about being able to receive compliments when they come. So I'm going to receive this and say thank you guys. That really made my day. We're completely off topic. Let's get back to the perfection versus excellence, and how about we share ways that we could tweak goals so that we're striving for excellence and not perfection. So some things I thought about were making your goals realistic to what you know you can do. Like, don't say, you know what, I'm gonna get in shape. I'm gonna run a marathon. I'm gonna run a 10-mile marathon when you can walk your ass down the street. Don't do that.
Right.
Be realistic with yourself.
Or like, I need to lose this amount of weight in this short amount of time.
I need to lose 60 pounds. Okay, I gotta do this. I'll never fucking do that. If I say, okay, I'm gonna lose 10 pounds this month, then 10 pounds, like
Slowly.
in spurts, little spurts.
Right, in spurts. I agree with that. But I know, well, I agree with it, but I know me. Okay, so this is me being honest and realistic with myself. I know I have to lose at least 10 more pounds, but I'd like to lose 20 more pounds. I know I'm not going to lose 10 pounds in a month. I'm being honest with myself. I don't lose weight like that. I lose it, but I like to cheat. So, I have to be honest with myself. Okay, yes, I'm going to lose the weight, but I'm not going to lose the weight 10 pounds in a month. I'm hoping I'm going to lose my last 20 pounds by the end. By the end of the year. That's me being realistic.
That's attainable.
Yeah,
That's attainable.
for sure.
That's super attainable.
But also this leads to being honest with yourself, because you cannot make realistic goals if you're not honest with yourself. So it's important to be honest with yourself when you're making your goals. And most importantly, give it your all. If you only do 5 sit-ups every day, when are you going to grow, right? So do from 5 sit-ups to 6 sit-ups the next day, 7 sit-ups the next day. Small incremental goals. They'll work for you, but you've got to give it your all. You cannot half-ass it. And I have a problem with that sometimes when I'm doing yoga. And it's a yoga pose that, it's a little hard for me, or how many times we gonna do this pose? I mean, pick something else, that's how I feel. And so sometimes I just go with the child's pose, but that's okay. I'll talk to myself and I'll think, Desi, no, get your ass up. And then I'll do that yoga pose, but I needed that little 5-minute break. That's another story. Anyway, give it your all. Don't half-ass it. You'll be surprised how far you can go. You guys got any more advice for them?
One thing that has worked for me, at least in the recent past, and I mean like in the past 5 years, that's recent to me. This thing that I was taught, which is just tell yourself no expectations. And at the time when I heard it, it's like, we have to have expectations, because then if you have no expectations, you just get anything life throws at you, and then it's just like, ugh. But I understood that what it meant is that whatever goals you have, or any goals you have for yourself or in the outer world or whatever, the more expectations you put, you should question them. Like, why do I have these expectations? Are they put on me? Am I putting this on myself? Why am I putting this on myself? When you live without all those expectations, where like, if I don't do this in 3 months, I'm a loser. Who told you that? Why do you think that? And when you were saying, Destiny, like when you're making things more realistic, you're really taking off all that social pressure off of you.
Yes.
Where, people are constantly telling you, like, you have to be successful at this age, and at this age, you should already have 2 houses and a boat. And by this age, you're still working. Hey, you should be retired with a CD that's making you this much money, and so on. And it's like so much that when you don't have expectations, and you still want to attain your goal, that's when you're more open to making those changes. Like, okay, this didn't work, I'll do that. You're more open to change, I think. Whereas, like, if you have expectations, you do something, it fails, you stop. It's like, I can't do it.
I give up. That's it. I couldn't. Yeah.
That's the problem with some expectations. So that's my best piece of advice.
And, that's enough of the serious stuff. It's Friday. Let's talk about something fun. Let's talk about social distancing etiquette, because I saw a lady at the grocery store the other day, and she damn near knocked this man over to get down the aisle. And I know you have so many issues with this and that. So let's make a list of social distancing practices that people should follow. What, Nat, you look like you burst in to say something.
No, I actually wanted to say something positive that happened to me first.
Ooh, okay.
It was like, I think it was like around Father's Day that we went to a barbecue. It was like my first time going to like a gathering since the pandemic. So, of course I'm freaking out. And that like in the Hispanic community, a kiss hello is like, you have to kiss somebody hello. It's just you just grew up like that. If you don't kiss somebody hello, it's rude. It's rude as like extremely rude. So now, of course, the Miami kiss is dead. Like nobody's like kissing each other hello anymore. So then now I'm going to this gathering, and we always kiss each other hello, and we go, and I'm like, how is this gonna work? Like, do I just say, oh, like, don't touch me, or like, you know what I mean? Like, hey, like, I don't know. So I'm like, I had anxiety about that. So when I get there, another guest arrives, which I always see her at when this certain family has gatherings, and she came up to me like, and she's like, hi, and she's like, are you social distancing? And I'm like, yes. And she's like, okay. So then she didn't give me a kiss, but she like
Oh,
asked politely. You know what I
right.
mean? So I was
Mm-hmm.
like, that's a good way to like do it instead of like
Yeah.
just like not like,
And
not
people
don't make
will
eye
impose it
contact.
on you.
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
will impose it on you. Even if you're like, it's okay, they're like, oh, just come and get me. And I'm like, oh, like,
And
Yeah. And
it's
like,
almost kind of like a habit
mm-hmm.
because Nat and I met up not too long ago to give you the journal. And when she came, she's at the gate and I like lean across the gate and she's like, wait. And I'm like, oh, but you're okay, right? And she's like, I don't have my results. Should I say that? Because you might not want people to know you got
that's
this.
fine. No, I don't care.
Okay. And she's like, I don't have my results yet. And I'm like, oh, but it's such a habit that when I see her, I greet her. Plus, it's been so long. I just want to hug you up,
I know it sucks when you first see your friends.
Yes. And I hadn't seen her in
Yeah.
so long. And I'm like, ah! And oh, no, don't touch me.
And
Okay.
we still
But
can't hug each other.
no, but that was really sweet that she asked you that.
Yes.
And I'm going to try and follow that rule from here on out because I never thought about doing that. And so when I see people, if I haven't seen them in a while, I'll ask, are you social distancing?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's super.
So
Wow.
I sent Nat this comic that I found. Well, it's from NPR. It was like this comic that they had on Instagram from this person called Malaka Garib. I hope I'm pronouncing her name correctly. And it was kind of like where you had to be the adult, which is kind of like, because she was advising against you shaming people and like berating them, even though that's like kind of my first reaction. It's like, dude, really? Like,
Mm-hmm.
but she says that if you approach it in a way where it's more like of a mutual thing, that people are more open to respond. So if you use words like us and we, like, do you mind if for our safety we can just stand 6 feet apart?
Yeah,
Apparently, that's more
keep a little
effective
space
than being
between
like, bitch,
us.
step the fuck back. Like, what are you doing up in
Yeah,
my space?
like you're
Which is
too
what
close
I
to
know
me.
the best.
With
And that lecturing others is not going to help. And you can't change other people's behavior, but you can control your own. So if you need to walk away, if you need to turn away, if you need to make that space for yourself, don't struggle, don't fight, don't convince. Your safety is first and foremost. And that's what I got from out of that. And I thought, I was like, okay, all right, let me be the grown up in every single situation. Can't blow
yeah.
up.
Oh,
And another
that's
thing was,
insightful.
I saw in her post, she also said like to have a conversation about ground
Yes.
rules for gatherings with like
Yes.
the host of the party before, which that's something that's good advice for us.
I want to talk about that.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about ground rules
Right.
if we do an in-person wine night and ground rules, and I'm going to be honest with you, the ground rules not going to work because the minute people start drinking and that mask comes
exactly.
Yeah.
No, you're with
goes
your
out the window because
friends,
your inhibitions are
right?
down.
That's why they had to shut down all the bars because it's like once you're
Yeah.
drinking, you don't care.
Right. It's
That's
not
why in
that you don't
Disneyland they
care
said you can't eat and walk around while you're drinking
anymore.
because might as well just take off your whole
Take
mask
the
the whole time
mask.
you're there.
Exactly. But it's a great
Also,
idea.
she said another thing was what was it? Like if you're at a gathering, right? And you see people like that aren't following like the social distancing rules or ground rules, that instead of you going to that person and saying something, just go directly to the host and let them know like, hey, there's a couple people, I don't know, maybe you want to go
I thought
tell.
that was adding a lot of pressure, but at the same time, if you're hosting the party, though,
but you're hosting, there's always drama that you have to deal with.
People.
Okay.
And it's better coming from somebody who's hosting. Then, like, what if you don't really know this person? The host does, at least.
I would.
Yeah.
Just stay home. Just stay home.
That's another one.
just stay home.
If you're not going to feel comfortable, don't go.
Right.
That's another
exactly.
thing.
That's the best advice. If you don't feel comfortable, don't go. Don't put the host in a position where they feel like they have to
That's also
defend anyone.
true.
Yeah.
But then
If
don't
you
also
don't,
put the host in a position where like you're not gonna follow the ground rules. That's also unfair too.
Well, I mean, if the
it
host gives
is.
everyone the ground rules and everyone's aware of it, fine. And then there's the one person that doesn't want to, then kick that person out. Like, we're all following the
Boy, but
rules.
that creates a
Right.
lot of drama too.
Yeah, but you came to this party knowing what the rules
True.
are. You
Right.
know what I mean? So if
Exactly.
you're gonna be an
Yes.
asshole about it, don't go.
Don't
If you
Don't
don't
go.
agree with the rules, don't go.
No, why don't you give us a super awesome playlist for the week?
So I did like a new wave nostalgia playlist.
Yeah.
And it was funny because I went on my first little road trip since the pandemic started for my son's baseball tournament, you know. So
Mhm.
we were, you know, on the road, and this song comes on, Chains of Love by Erasure. And I was like, oh my God, it took me back
Back. Yeah.
to my like 19, 20-year-old clubbing days. So,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, like when they used to play those songs and it was like the little dance that it was like side to side to
Yeah.
side, you know, like that you gave me no reason. And it's just like a little side to side movement. And like, it just took me back. So I'm like, oh man, let me do a
Aww.
new wave playlist. That would be
Yes.
awesome. Like,
Yeah.
lots of memories. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, Chains of Love by Erasure, very like
Yes.
upbeat, like danceable
Yes.
song.
Perfect for my
Um,
morning walk.
yes. And
Yes.
then of course I loved Depeche Mode. So of
Oh
course
God.
Strangelove is like one of my favorites.
Oh yeah.
Just Like Heaven by The Cure, another one
Oh,
of
the
my
cute.
favorites. Yes, no, we don't have all you guys. I'm gonna throw in Friday I'm in Love into the
Yes.
link so you guys can hear it too, because that is one
Woo
of my
woo.
all-time favorites. I love that song. So I'm gonna make a note of it. Friday I'm in
Okay.
Love, and it'll
Woo
be in
woo.
that playlist for this episode so you guys
Yay.
can enjoy it. I love
Yes.
that song. The Cure is amazing.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Cities in the Dust by Siouxsie and the Banshees. Did you guys hear that song? Do you
No.
recognize it?
No. How does it go? What song is it?
I can't do it. You guys have to listen to it.
Okay.
But I remember um back when I was going to clubs, I used to go to this club called Mars Bar in Kendall. It's just, and this was like late 90s when I was, just starting to go to clubs, 18, 19, 20.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember Siouxsie and the Banshees, they played them a lot. And I was like, I want to know what that song is. I don't know what that song is. And somebody told me what it was. And it just always stuck in my head, Siouxsie and the Banshees, because of the way Siouxsie is spelled.
Right. Like
Like
the word Sioux,
SIO, yeah,
like
like
the
Ah.
like the
SIOUX.
indigenous nation, and then
Yeah.
SIE. Yeah.
And the Banshees. So I was like, that's such a cool name. So that's why that song always like stuck in my head. And it's an awesome
Mm-hmm.
song. I love it. And then of course Tainted Love by
Oh,
Softcell. I mean,
that's
Yes.
that
a
was like a
classic.
club staple
Mm-hmm.
It's just a
back in
classic.
the 90s and
It
2000s.
is a
I was like,
classic.
I looked up new wave and I'm like, wait a second, new wave. I'm like, how come I don't hear any like new bands considered new wave? And I'm like, isn't that a genre? So then I started looking up what new wave is, and it was a genre, considered a genre, like between the mid 70s and the late 80s, which was like
Mm.
kind of like pop music that came out after punk,
Mm-hmm.
but then they wanted to be like not referred to as punk because it wasn't commercially accepted like the punk music. So
Right.
Oh,
it became
Mm-hmm.
like this new wave with like
Mm-hmm.
synthesizers and like
that's what I
just
always think
Yeah.
of.
electronic.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I
new
always
wave
thought new
was
wave was determined by the amount of synthesizing that they add into the
right.
music.
So new
Mm-hmm.
wave is really like considered today as synth pop or electronic
Okay.
Mm.
dance pop.
Okay.
Right. I
So
can see this being a bit poppy.
yeah, so it's
Yeah.
kind of like new wave ended, But whatever came out after that, like if one of these songs would have come out today, it would be considered just like pop electronic dance. It
Yeah,
would be
you're
new
absolutely
wave.
right.
Because that's why I was like, did new wave die? Like, I don't understand. Like,
No, it evolved, I
but
guess.
but new
evolved.
wave just became those certain bands that came out in that time period.
Time frame.
That's
keep up with the playlist. Love them. I'm gonna have an awesome walk this coming week because of you. Thank you. I need that. And it's been a lovely, lovely Friday. I'm so happy to be here with you guys again. So happy to share this time with you. I love you. I wish you guys were here in person.
Oh, always.
But someday soon it'll happen. I'll see you guys next week. Love you. Let's toast to all of the beautiful things coming our way. Cheers to that.
Nothing but good vibes.
Yes, nothing but good vibes. Love you guys. See you next week.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
If you guys enjoyed this episode, please subscribe below.